What's up, everybody? John Arapoli here with my MMA News, and today's guest will be fighting Shanna Young at UFC Vegas 64 on November 5th. Pleased today to once again be joined by the number 11 flyweight contender in the world, Miranda Maverick. Miranda, nice seeing you again. It's been a minute since we did one of these, so it's nice to see you again. Following along the career here, it's been really a great start to the UFC career for you here. Obviously, ranked, a lot of good stuff going on. So anyway, yeah, thanks again for being here.
Yeah, thank you. I'd say you said I'm ranked. The UFC doesn't have me ranked, but I think Tapology and a few other sites do. So UFC needs to catch up.
Yeah, the UFC needs to catch up on a few things there. The website will fall a little behind. We were talking before we came on air here. They don't have it. If you go to UFC.com, you will not see that your fight's booked, but it is indeed happening for everybody out there, correct? This is a go, November 5th. We're doing this.
November 5th, I'm at the headline of the prelims. So right before they start the main card will be my fight. So excited to be there next weekend, already in the middle of the weight cut and everything. So excited to be there.
All right. So before we get into any more fight specifics, I do want to back up a few months here because I did see on Instagram you made it official. You are married now, so congratulations. Just talk about that. How's married life going?
Yeah, thank you. Married life is good. You know, we've been in Colorado together for a while. We eloped last Thanksgiving, so we're actually like about to make it an official year, even though we just got officially like married in front of family and friends. So we were happy to be able to do that, have our families meet each other for the first time, and everybody just get to spend some time. We did it on my family's ranch out in Missouri, and just beautiful, beautiful day. Everything went pretty much in line with the way we wanted it to. You know, there's always little things that happen, but ours went dang near perfect. It was beautiful.
And I was going to say, too, I was going to ask about the location of it because the photos looked absolutely beautiful. You said your family owns that ranch. What was that like going through that? Like having your family own a place? I'm sure that had to be fantastic, too, because a lot of my friends that are getting married, I learned that these venues and everything are not cheap. So.
No, they're not. And I've actually joked with my dad that he needs to make it a venue, but he likes his privacy, you know? So he's had that place for a while. Me and my siblings helped him build every fence post that's in there, every tree that's planted in the yard. And it's been just a big family undertaking since, I don't know, about 10 years ago. So we were just honored to be able to have our wedding there. And I own some property attached to my dad's, which is part of the investment that I've made since fighting, and working on having a house back home there to where when we decide to have a family and I retire, we'll have somewhere to go back to.
All right, a lot of good stuff going on there. And now let's get to the fight game part of stuff here. So this fight actually was scheduled right for UFC 278 back in August in Salt Lake City. Shanna, unfortunately, she had that little problem. I don't think she even made it to the weigh-ins that day. She got sick while the weight cut was going on there. Just talk about kind of how that all transpired and learning about the news. I'm sure it had to be a little upsetting. You know, you got through the training camp and everything just to have it the day before unfold the way how it did.
Yeah, basically now 2 out of 5 or 6 fights have gone that same way. You know, with Jillian, she canceled on me short notice the day of the fight, like 2 hours before we were supposed to fight. And then Shanna, now it was midnight basically before weigh-ins. So it was Thursday night. I had already made weight except for like 0.7 pounds. I was going to just float it by morning. So I'd already done my weight cut and everything and was getting ready to go to sleep. And I think I actually wouldn't have even woke up, but I had my phone volume on accident, and got a call from my manager late at night. And he was like, "Hey, fight's off." And I was like, "What?" Like I'm waking up like dazed, you know, and I'm like, "What do you mean the fight's off?" You know, and he was like, "Well, Shanna's in the hospital right now as we speak, like getting taken care of." And found out later it wasn't something super major, but she was having like bad cramping and stuff, and her coaches decided to intervene and get it taken care of medically. I'm hoping this time she doesn't have the same complications. Hopefully started a little lower for the weight cut. You know, in worst case scenario, lets everybody know early and we meet at a catch weight, and or she misses weight. I don't know. I'd rather her miss weight than us not have a fight at all, you know?
Yeah, I understand. I know too from interviewing her in the past. How she just recently had a baby, and last time I interviewed her, we did talk about the whole with the hormones of the body and everything. So hopefully, you know, indeed that she'll be able to get down the 125 mark this time, and we get this going here. But I was gonna say too, you guys have a lot of familiarity with each other. Not only did you prepare for her once already in the UFC, but you guys go back to the Invicta days, right? 2019, you guys fought each other. You defeated her in the tournament. There was a night where you guys had to fight 3 times to win a championship there. So just talk about that first matchup and what you kind of learned from her that time. And then do you pay attention to that matchup at all? Because it is kind of fairly recently, but I know you've changed gyms and moved around. She's made the move from Tennessee out to Vegas, so she's kind of a different fighter. So how much do you pay attention to that first meeting?
I pay attention to every fight that she's had, and I pay attention to my own too. And what I do when I go back and watch fights is I watch all of my own and all of my opponents, and I try to watch them all objectively. Like my own, I watch as if I'm on my opponent, and I'm like, wow, where's Miranda Maverick weak? Where is she bad? And I look at the evolution that I've had over time, and I'm like, okay, you can see the improvements here, 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 here. And then I do the same thing with my opponent. And for Shanna, like, not to take anything away from her, I have respect for her, but I don't feel like, one, she's improved as much as me because she was out a couple of years with her kid, getting back in shape, coming back into the fight game. So that's like 2 years that she lost of training that I was training and improving every single day. On top of that, I'm younger. I feel like I have more room to evolve than she did. She has a lot more experience already in the game. And I feel like I have a lot more room to improve there and grow as a fighter. And I think I've also shown the most growth since we last fought. I remember in the tournament, she was actually the one that I wanted. I told my coaches, I told my dad, I was like, I really want to fight Shanna in the second round. I felt like it was a good matchup for me. The tall, the lanky, it's easier to get to their legs. And at the time, I was more of a grappler than anything, didn't have much of a striking background at all when we fought the first time. And I think she's walking into this fight kind of underestimating how much I have improved, like seeing me as the same fighter that we had the first time. I think she thinks it was maybe a fluke because in her mind, I'm sure she thinks that she like hit me, dazed me that first fight. But I like tripped. I like went to kick at the same time that she threw a punch and I fell. And as she was running in to kind of finish the fight, I guess, I like ran and got a takedown real fast and finished her with a rear naked choke. This fight might go the exact same way to where I decide to finish it on the ground. But I feel like I have more avenues to win. And I don't really see anywhere that she is going to win. I feel like I'm faster. I feel like I'm stronger, have better technique while standing in on the ground. And my striking has improved so much since we fought the first time. Like I hadn't even moved out to Virginia yet, or I just started with my gym in Virginia where I learned a lot of Muay Thai techniques and stuff. And now I'm here in Colorado where I've learned to blend it together a lot better than I ever have. And, now I feel like I'm towards the top of the division in skill level, and I want to put on a show on next Saturday and show why.
And you mentioned there, right, the move out to Colorado right at the end of your answer there. I wanted to ask you about that next. Obviously, that's a big transition for you. You've been there for now just a little over a calendar year, like 13 months or so. Just talk about not only your training camp for this camp, but just that move in general and how much you've improved from being out in Colorado.
Well, one, the elevation, right? They always say elevation training is crazy good, and it is. When I go back home to Missouri or I go travel and do seminars, my cardio is there. I can go climb any hills I want to, and I feel good. Even Salt Lake City was higher elevation, but I didn't feel any type of elevation sickness or anything like that. I felt great out there. And I feel like I have that advantage against Shanna, along with just about anybody else. And on top of that, they're just world level coaches out here, right? I have so many to choose from. When I first moved out here, there's so many gyms that are part of quote unquote team elevation, right? Like we call it team elevation, but it's really just all the fighters in this area that train together, but we all go to different gyms. Like I go to Pound for Pound Muay Thai for most of my striking. That's where my coach, Justin Houghton, runs and owns. Then I have Elliot Marshall, who owns and runs many of the Easton training centers. He's my head coach, and he's more of my jiu-jitsu coach. Then I go to High Altitude to spar sometimes, go to Genesis training to spar sometimes, just all kinds of different gyms that I get to go in and out of and get new bodies and fresh looks at everything and improve myself every single day by doing that and pushing myself and having great training partners too. There's no other place that I've seen that has so many high level UFC girls close to my weight. Lauren Murphy's coming up from Texas to come train with me now. The last 2 camps, she's here for her own camps now. She's a great addition to the team. I have Raquel Pennington, a lot of girls that are just training with me day in and day out that make me better.
And I was going to ask you about that too. I did see the photos with Laura Murphy, Raquel Pennington. I know in the past I'm interviewing Tisha Torres. She does work out there as well. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you, and if anybody out there that's watching this interview isn't familiar with it, here's a great point to talk about it. a lot of times for females, you end up going to gyms and you get a lot of work in with guys, and that's good to a degree. But a lot of high level women will say there's nothing like training with other high level women inside of a gym. It feels so much different. It brings so much more as opposed to getting the looks with the guys in the gym. Talk about that, because that might throw people out because people might not be familiar with that.
Yeah, until I moved here to Colorado, I really didn't have many female training partners, especially not any that like pushed me. They might in one subject, whether it be Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu specific, but as far as being able to do MMA rounds with them, I've never really had a female training partner. They've always been guys that are obviously much heavier than me, much bigger than me, that would have to go light in order for me to even train with them. And that's such a different feeling, especially mentally. Like, it's a defeatist mentality every single day. Like, you get in there and get your butt kicked. And if you don't, they were just taking it easy on you. Like, there's never a day that you actually walk out of the gym like, I won those rounds, and gain that confidence. And not only that, being able to test yourself and test the waters of where you actually stand in your own division, right? When I got out to Colorado, not that you're necessarily like competing, trying to win every training, but you're like, wow, I am pretty skilled in this. Like, I can do this to this person. I can be this person's training partner and sparring partner, where before you might psych yourself out or be like, they're one of the best in the world. I'm probably not going to be able to hold my own. And then you get out here and you do it and you're like, wow, this was different than what I thought it was. And I always say you need 3 training partners, right? One that you can beat up for confidence, one that gives you a challenge and you never know which way it goes, and another one that'll just whoop your butt every single training. And with the guys, I only got one of those always.
One of the other things too, right, when you're training with these women that I find interesting. So, like Chael Sonnen, right? I love his analyst work, and he will always say like the hardest fight for a fighter is to fight somebody that's in a weight class below you because they have the speed advantage. But then other people might say, hey, when you move up in weight, they're so much bigger and strong. Where you kind of have that too when you train out in Colorado too. So what's that been like, being able to go in and seeing somebody that has a lot of speed, but then getting somebody like Raquel, for example, who's big and strong, might be able to give you different looks in that regard as well.
Yeah, it's just all of us have different strengths. And that's a cool part of having so many high level girls. Like, one of them might be a world class grappler, but not so much a striker. The other one's a world class striker, not so much a grappler. Raquel's super strong, has good clinch work, good techniques. And because we have the same striking coach, like some of the techniques we will laugh because we'll try to throw them at the same time, kind of thing, and we both know the call signs for them. And then Tisha, she's just so fast, throws those combos. And so to me, I'm like, let me just cover and take her down, right? Like, that's always the goal. Like, with the different girls, there's always different things. And with the guys, I was always strong. I was always getting stronger by going against them and tougher. And so I've got that going for me. But now going with the girls, like, there's flexibility that guys don't have a lot of times. There's the wiriness and like just I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like, I don't want to say floundering, but like the girls just like, they whip around a lot more than the guys do. Like, a lot of times the guys are more stiff and everything. And it's just a completely different feeling, especially from a grappling aspect, to have those smaller girls get out of spots that you're like, I thought I had that. And they just get in these little areas that I'm not used to going with smaller girls, and they get out of. Like, Mallory Martin's a good example. We'll joke all the time. I'm like, man, I thought I like was holding you down, and she'll like get her head out somewhere and be on top of me next thing I know. And I'm like, okay, that's not going to happen again. Right.
So now to end today, I do want to go back outside the cage. Obviously, a lot of great stuff going for you in the fight game there. But the last time we did an interview, I don't remember, you were either just about to finish up school or you were continuing. So I know for a while when we were doing interviews, it was always schoolwork was a big part of this. What's going on with school? Are we done yet, or are you still pushing through and doing different things?
It makes me sick. All right. So no more school work per se, but about to do the thesis proposal now, and hopefully going to have it closed out in the next few months is the goal. It's more of a waiting game for my professor to get back to me all the time and get edits back to me. Not so much. I don't even blame myself anymore. It's not even me. I'm just sitting here waiting on other people to get stuff done. Right. So thesis is still not done, but the way I feel about it is if I wasn't so close, I wouldn't even need it anymore. Like, I've got a good job right now. I've got a lot of job experience with them. And I want my master's just to get it closed out and be done. But that's probably as far as I'm going to go after this. I have a lot of stats background now and industrial psychology. So good future awaits regardless. But yes, I plan on getting the thesis done whenever they get it to me.
And I do remember too, the one of the last time we did an interview, you were saying once you did finish school, you wanted to work full time and still train and be active in both your field and school and being a fighter. Is that still the game plan as well?
It's happening. So I'm
It
already
is
done.
happening. This is a real thing. Man, I give you a lot of credit. I don't know when you sleep.
Yeah, so I'm like I said, I don't have any classes with school anymore. I'm really not even doing school. Like this is the first time my professor actually got back to me like 4 days ago, and that's the first time we've spoken in months that he's gotten back and like caught up and not been sick and whatever else, right? And I'm like, okay, when are we gonna like get this thing done? Because right now I'm working. I guess it'd be full time, like 25, 30 hours a week, right? For Hershey, like the Hershey Chocolate Company, as a contracted statistician for them on their media marketing team. And so I work for them. I have my own gear business, obviously. I go and do seminars and commentate when I can. And then I fight and I train many hours a day, right? Every single day except Sundays. So I keep busy, that's for sure. And I do other things on the side too. Just trying to keep a lot of avenues of business going, right? Like I figure one will take off as long as I keep investing and using my money properly and trying to make more of myself so that I can help others in the future and inspire others too. Like my little sister will be moving out here in December, and she's starting the fighting journey as well. And I hope to kind of pave a road for her too, to where it's a lot easier for her than it was for me, kind of starting from scratch, all the way from figuring out how to deal with the networking of fighting to how to train properly and get my body to where it could recover and perform at its best.
All right, a lot of good stuff there. And I did hear Hershey Chocolate Factory. That's actually about 2 hours away from me where I'm at in Pennsylvania here. So have you been out there yet, or is everything just online?
I have. I have been out there one time to the actual Hershey facility. I plan on getting more of a tour and stuff next time. I'll actually be out there like the weekend from December 10th to 15th. So I might be able to set up a seminar out there at some point, but I'll definitely be at Hershey, like just kind of doing my semi-annual visit.
All right, good stuff. Thanks again for the time today. Last thing before you roll out, social media, management, sponsors, anybody you got to give a shout out to, floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I have fearthemaverick.net. That's where all my merchandise is at. I have shirts, hats, autograph pictures, all kinds of stuff that you can get before my fight. If I can ship it out tomorrow and you guys want to order tonight or tomorrow, that would be great because it'll definitely get to you before my fight. I also have patreon.com/fearthemaverick. There you can go watch videos from techniques that I do, from striking and jujitsu to my weight cut. I'm going to be like journaling it almost every single day. I did one video today showing you guys how water loads work and how I'm starting that off for my weight cut. And I also have like pictures on there, videos of all kinds of techniques and everything. So check those out. And then you can follow me on social media at Fear the Maverick, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that.
All right, Miranda, thanks again so much for all the time. It was great to catch up with you. I know it's been a minute since we did one of these, so it's great to catch up, and can't wait to see this fight too. Again, for everybody out there, just want to remind you guys, Miranda's fighting Shanna Young on November 5th, UFC Vegas 64. Those fights, of course, from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. One last thing before I roll out, just like I always do, and remind everybody, if you like today's interview, make sure to go to the bottom and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so, and keep going to MyMMANews.com to check out all of our great work that comes out all 7 days of the week. We'll see you later, everybody.